The moment I walked into the courtroom, my mother laughed, but minutes later, the truth destroyed her smile. The courtroom doors opened with a heavy sound, and every head turned toward me. The air inside felt cold, like it had been waiting for me. My shoes tapped against the marble floor, each step loud and lonely. I could feel eyes on my back, judging, whispering, deciding who I was before I even spoke. Then I saw them. My mother sat in the front row, dressed neatly, her lips tight. When our eyes met, she let out a small laugh under her breath. Not loud. Not kind. It was the same laugh she used when she thought I was stupid. My father sat beside her. He didn't laugh. He simply shook his head slowly, like a disappointed teacher looking at a failed student. Nothing had changed. 7 years ago, they told me to leave their house. They said I was useless, that I brought shame, that I would never succeed. I walked out with one bag and no place to go. And now here I was again, standing in front of them, back in their world. My chest tightened. I took my seat and tried to breathe. That's when I noticed her. Sarah stood near the side bench, holding a folder close to her chest like it was protecting her. For a second, my mind went blank. I hadn't seen her since the night my life fell apart. Her hair was shorter now, her face more serious. She looked older, but also stronger. Still, there was something fragile in the way she stood. When her eyes met mine, she froze. Time slowed. The room disappeared. 7 years ago, she was the only person who believed in me. She waited for me after work. She told me I was enough when my parents said I was nothing. Then one day, she stopped answering my calls. She moved away. No goodbye. No explanation. I blamed myself. I thought I was too poor, too weak, too broken. Sarah looked away first, like it hurt to see me. That hurt more than anything my parents ever did. The courtroom filled with low whispers. Papers shuffled. A chair scraped the floor. I could smell old wood and dust, mixed with cheap perfume. Everything felt heavy, like the past was pressing down on my chest. I wondered what my parents were thinking. Maybe they were enjoying this, watching me stand here again, still alone, still fighting. But something felt different this time. Sarah shifted her weight nervously. Her fingers tightened around the folder. She didn't look at me again, but I could feel the tension in her body, like she was holding her breath. I realized then that this wasn't just a courtroom. It was a place where the past had come to collect its debt. And whatever truth had been buried 7 years ago was about to surface. Whether we were ready or not. The judge had not arrived yet. A short break was announced, and people slowly stood up, stretching their legs, whispering to each other. I stayed seated for a moment, staring at the table in front of me. My hands were clenched so tightly my fingers hurt. I needed air. I stood and walked toward the hallway. The lights outside were brighter, colder. The sound of my footsteps echoed against the walls. I leaned near a window, breathing slowly, trying to calm the storm inside my chest. Then I heard her voice. "Why are you here?" I turned around. Sarah stood a few feet away, her hands folded in front of her. She didn't look angry. She looked scared. I gave a small, bitter smile. "Same reason as always," I said. "To prove I exist." She looked down at the floor. "My parents want to see me lose," I added quietly. "They always have." Her shoulders tensed at the word parents. It was a small reaction, but I noticed it. She pressed her lips together, like she was holding back words. "You shouldn't have come back," she said. "It will only hurt you." I let out a dry laugh. "I was hurt the day you disappeared." That finally made her look at me. 7 years ago flashed in my mind like broken glass. Standing outside her house, calling her phone again and again, hearing nothing, then hearing rumors that she had left town, that she didn't want a poor man with angry parents and no future. "I waited for you," I said, my voice lower now. "You promised you would explain. You never did." Her eyes filled with tears, but they didn't fall. "It wasn't that simple," she whispered. "It never is," I replied. She hugged the folder closer to her chest. Her hand shook slightly. She looked thinner up close, tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. There was something heavy in her posture, like she was carrying more than just papers. "You should leave after today," she said suddenly. "Once the case is over." The words felt strange. Final. Like a warning. Why? I asked. She hesitated. Her eyes moved past me, toward the courtroom doors. Toward my parents. That was when I felt it. Something was wrong. 7 years ago, my mother had looked at Sarah with pure hate. She had called her selfish. A gold digger. A mistake. My father had said nothing, which was worse. I remembered my mother's voice clearly. That girl will destroy you. Or we will. I stepped closer to Sarah. Did they say something to you? I asked. Back then. Her breath caught. She shook her head quickly, but her eyes betrayed her. Tell me the truth, I said. Just once. I deserve that. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Tears slipped down her cheeks this time. She wiped them away fast, like she was ashamed. I can't, she said softly. Before I could speak again, the courtroom doors opened. The break was over. People began returning to their seats. Sarah turned away from me, her shoulders stiff, her steps unsteady. As I followed her back inside, one thought kept repeating in my mind. She didn't leave me. She was protecting something. And whatever it was, my parents knew about it long before I did. The courtroom settled into a heavy silence as everyone took their seats. The judge entered, and all eyes turned forward. My heart was beating so loud I wondered if others could hear it. I felt calm on the outside, but inside, something was burning, steady and strong. My mother sat straight, her face confident again. My father leaned back slightly, arms crossed. They looked sure of the ending. The judge asked for final statements. My mother's lawyer spoke first. His voice was smooth and practiced. He painted me as a failure who had returned out of jealousy and bitterness. My mother smiled faintly as he spoke. My father nodded once, as if every word proved him right. Then the judge looked at me. You may speak. I stood. For a second, my legs felt weak. I glanced at Sarah. She sat very still, her hands folded tightly in her lap, her eyes shining with fear and something else, hope. I left this town 7 years ago with nothing. I began. My voice echoed softly in the room. No money. No support. No family. My mother rolled her eyes. I was told I was worthless, I continued. That I should disappear. And I did. I paused, then reached into my folder. But I didn't come back empty. The room shifted. People leaned forward. I submit this to the court, I said, handing the document to the clerk. A DNA report. My mother's smile vanished. What is this nonsense? She snapped, half rising from her seat. The judge raised a hand. Sit down. My father's face had gone pale. He was staring at the paper like he already knew what it said. I took a breath. My hands stopped shaking. 7 years ago, the woman I loved disappeared, I said, turning slightly toward Sarah. I believed she abandoned me. I believed I wasn't enough. Sarah covered her mouth, tears finally falling freely. But the truth, I said slowly, is that she was forced to leave. My mother stood up now, her voice sharp. That's a lie. I looked straight at her. You threatened her. You told her I would be destroyed if she stayed. You told her the child she was carrying would grow up hated. The room exploded into gasps. Sarah broke down, crying silently. The child she raised alone, I said, my voice steady but heavy, is my son. Silence fell like a weight. My father lowered his head. My mother's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The judge read the report carefully. The seconds felt endless. This court will postpone today's decision, the judge finally said. Further investigation is required. The gavel struck. It was over. As people stood and whispered, my parents remained frozen in their seats. No laughter. No shaking heads. Just empty faces and exposed truth. Sarah stood in front of me, trembling. I'm sorry, she whispered. I thought I was protecting you. I shook my head gently. You protected our child. We walked out together. Behind us, my parents sat in silence, their power gone. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the boy they broke. I felt like the man who survived.